All right, I think maybe we'll get rolling here. John O'Connor will likely, hopefully, join us in progress here. I don't know if he's having some technical difficulties or not. Um, One option was he was going to go over to the admin building. I don't. He's not there. He's probably trying to get on at home. But let's get started.
Okay.
So it's now 11 o'clock. So let's call the meeting to order. As you can probably hear from me, I am commuting in a car. I'm not driving. My wife is driving, but so I'll try to mute my mic when I'm not speaking, so you don't hear the road noise. But if I have communications problems with my phone, if I hit a bad zone or something, if I get locked out here, Brian will take over as chair for the meeting. Matter of fact, Brian, I think since I don't think I'm seeing any flag signs for people wanting to ask questions or raise hands on my phone, maybe that's not available on my phone. I don't know, but I'll ask you to keep an eye on anybody raising the flag to ask a question, and you can call on them from your vantage point.
Okay, will do. Try my best.
And Brian, thank you for taking the minutes. Appreciate that.
All righty.
I think you can judge for yourselves on muting your mics. May not be necessary if you're in a quiet situation, but I will mute mine when I'm not speaking. So this will be kind of an open meeting where we have OPA staff, we have BNF, we have no one from the community here. So anybody who wants to ask a question, including board members, please, raise the flag and participate and ask questions as we go through. I think what we'll do for tomorrow's meeting, if there's people from the public attending, that we'll defer public comments and questions to the end. I think we'll let the public ask questions. We have in the past. We haven't had a lot of people coming in the past to our in-person meetings, but depending on the volume out there tomorrow, if there's a lot of folks out there from the public, what we'll do is at the end, we'll let them reserve their comments and questions to the end, and maybe some of the questions get answered as they go along. Today we set aside between 11 and 12 o'clock today to pick up on an agenda item just because of the availability of certain people for the meeting, and that's fine. We're all here today. We can do that. We all have our books, and the key content for today's 1 hour session is, I guess, section 17, which is the clubhouse grill, beach club section 18, and yacht club section 20. I know Ralph had sent around one additional worksheet, which was a listing of bookings, so that's available. Everybody has that to refer to, but that's the only other additional handout that I know of for today. So for the three topics here, Beach Club, Yacht Club, and Turner's Grill, I guess Ralph and in conjunction with Steve, who put the budgets together, will be our lead presenters here today.
TV.
John, I know when we spoke, I know, and even on the agenda for tomorrow, there's a time slotted for GM comments. I'll ask you right now what comments you might want to make now. You may want to defer some of them till tomorrow, or you may want to, handle them all today. I'll defer to you.
Okay, thank you, Dick, and thank you, BNF. I know you adjusted for this. Yes, tomorrow, just like any other year, I'll start off with my comments. I'm not going to go through everything today, but my comments will be basically, BNF has heard it as well as in board meetings, how I'll put everything into perspective with the entire 3 days. So for today, though, and this is the first time for Ralph and Lewis. They have done it. They consistently do it every month with Steve. We thought it would be great to get them involved now, especially at this time with everything going on. So Steve and I have gone through it with Ralph and Lewis. They understand the process. But what we're going to do is this, is that, as far as what you'll hear tomorrow is what I've opened up last year and when I was on BNF. I believe the role of BNF is to, everything that it says in the scrolls, but what I'm looking for and what I believe we're all looking for is that line item review. Dave Stevens, it was one of the first things he told me when I was on BNF, and he totally made sense to me that he looks to BNF, or we look to BNF to review it, review the margins. You've all asked these questions. Ralph and Louis are here. They have all the answers. But what I've always said, no matter where I've been, is I don't just want to get granular. We should also look at the whole picture so that we don't miss anything. I can guarantee you that Ralph and Louis have those answers to the overall perspective. They will definitely share that with you in the course of their conversations. So I'm going to hand over to Ralph. I'm going to ask him to give you the overview of, how he's managing through this pandemic, how he looked at his forecast, overall high level, as well as his budget, what he's seeing over the next couple months. And then from there, any questions that BNF has, and then obviously you can go line by line on the financials. Okay? Brian?
Very well. Proceed.
All right. Wow.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the budgets that were put together, the 2022 budget and then the sideline COVID budget, this COVID one's self-explanatory. It was been there for a worst case scenario, but like I told these guys earlier, the truth of the matter is, this budget doesn't start until May 1. I think I told them that when Biden comes into office, he has a 100-day plan. He comes in on the 20th of January. His 100-day plan ends on April 30th. I don't see the COVID budget that was sent to you guys being in play. It's there strictly because I was asked to put one together for a worst case scenario. I truly believe the 2022 budget that's to the left of that column is not only more accurate, but I truly believe that we're going to have a great year, and this is under promise and over deliver budget. I say that because of my feeling about this 100 days. And look, when these vaccinations take place after that first 100 days and the most vulnerable are taken care of first, that 40% of that population, when they stop dying and then hospitalizations stop, the governor started opening up. I think there's going to be a boom to Ocean City. I said earlier, I believe that high tides raise all boats. And when Ocean City gets a boom, Ocean Pines is going to get one just the same. So I feel pretty confident in the numbers that we used for the budget. The numbers that we used for the budget are actual numbers from the first year we were there. They were the numbers we used for last year. I didn't see any reason why I would change them. This year obviously was affected by COVID. It didn't make any sense to make them better or worse than what we had thought was going to happen pre-COVID. So that's why they're looking similar to the previous year. The numbers, if you add them all together, I used the total of those three numbers to come up with what would trigger our year 2 in our contract. I do believe the profits are going to be higher, in particular in the yacht club. But I'll tell you that I underpromised to hopefully over-deliver.
Well, while he's just looking, let me just jump in there. And we all know this, but just because it's being taped. What we said about the whole budget, and I'll talk about this in depth tomorrow, is that all the departments, all the amenities, including food and beverage, we did the COVID adjustment totally separate. And you hear Ralph referencing that. Okay, so that'll be totally separate. We'll talk about that separate. So it's in line with everything else. Go ahead.
I did send out a second piece of paper, a second form for you guys. I don't know if everyone there got it, for our a detailed leads tracker for our weddings and events. Did most of you get that?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what look, this is actual, this is factual. You can see that comment says 100%. That means that deposit has been made on those numbers. You look at the end of this sheet, you'll see that we already have booked $335,000 in weddings and events. Those are conservative minimal numbers. That's the worst case scenario that they can spend. The reason it's worst case is because we take deposits on the smallest event or wedding that they could do, knowing that they'll bring in additional people for these separate weddings. So that's the smallest amount of income that'll come in from these events, that 335,000. It's 100% positive that it's going to be more than that.
Okay.
This is what I told these guys I believe to be a public confidence sheet, as well as informational for dollar amounts. This, I think, proves the public confidence is coming back. You're not going to start booking all these and putting money down unless you think that it's going to happen. And that's why I feel so optimistic about what's going to happen next year. This is another reason why I feel optimistic. This is a public confidence thing. That's really all I have. I'm ready for questions.
Hey, Ralph, I don't have a flag, so I'm just going to ask a question. Ralph, do people that have put money down, is that money, any of that money refundable? In other words, can they cancel?
It's refundable to a certain time period, but most of the time it gets, if someone wants to change it, it gets put onto a different date. We had a couple of events this year because of COVID that instead of refunding their money, we just moved their date back by 6 months. We've probably only refunded 3 events since we started. Right, and that's the 50% of the deposit that's refunded.
So I just got and Ralph, I just realized I just got a text from Doug. Doug's right. I'm going to go see if Michelle can email it. Ralph came in. He's got a schedule here that he gave us. What he's talking about, the 335,000 for those banquets. So let me go.
Wait, John, we all have that.
Oh, you have?
John,
Okay, because
Yeah,
I asked.
I've got that, John. It was the COVID budget that Ralph referred to.
Okay, so the COVID budget is going to be like with the rest, Doug, where we have a separate document for that. It's basically taking from this year's experience. He did it the same as the other. We did it from this year's experience, Doug. So it's more an Excel spreadsheet and a calculation saying, okay, this year he had a budget, let's say, of 100 that he was going to make, and maybe he only made 60. So that 40 is what you're going to see as an adjustment.
Yeah, I understand. I just want a clarification because I'm looking at the budget book and
Right.
I've got the 3 sections. So that's the regular budget that Ralph and the Matador Company is
Correct.
presenting. And then you got another one that's the COVID budget, which I don't have, which, you know, is
Okay,
speculation.
that's what I'm trying to highlight. It's not a whole separate.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just a calculation and it's across the board. Steve they don't have those. We'll send them before tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah, you
Okay,
should
very
have the
good.
summary. You have the summary page for the COVID in the front section.
Yeah,
which is
Doug, it's
page-
only a summary. It's not a whole full-blown P&L.
It's,
It's
Sure, and that's what I would expect too.
Right.
You're just
Page
looking at
15.
percentages of,
page
you know.
15,
yes,
section 1, Steve's saying, it's in there.
So you see, it has a section for a column for yacht club, beach club, and golf, showing the impact.
Wait, say again, please.
So if you look at page 15 in section 1,
Page
it
15.
breaks it down by column by amenity. So there's a yacht club column, beach club column, as well as golf, recreation, aquatics, beach parking. So they're all the pieces that would be
Gotcha.
affected by COVID.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, that's the reference I was looking for. All right, fine, thank you.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Don has a question. Go ahead, Don.
Ralph, just a quick one. What's the experience been like before the pandemic with the weddings? Is this a lot of weddings that is happening there, or is it not much, or there's a lot more?
Our wedding business has gotten stronger and stronger since we took over. This is a advanced, meaning we have more. They're still coming in stronger. This is more than what we had scheduled for last year. which again makes me think that public confidence is coming in strong because they're all starting to book these events.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, Brian, basically, I've heard Ralph say it's up, so your team, do you want to go line by line? Do you want to just ask questions? Whatever way you want to do it, Ralph's open to it.
I think we should jump into a section and then just go through it line by line. So you guys pick what session. You got 3 tabs. Pick which one you want to go to first.
We'll go to, you want to start with the clubhouse or the yacht club? Just go down the P now.
Sure. The beach club. You want to start with the beach club?
Yeah, whatever you.
Sure.
So he's going to start with the beach club. That's tab number
Tab
18.
18.
We base these sales on the first year sales. They're attainable, and we know that because we did it. Same with the costs. This is worst case scenario: food costs, liquor costs, payroll costs, and profit. We think it's COVID aside. We think it's pretty impossible for us to come in less than $97,000 on a bottom line on this. These are all actual costs from our first year.
So I see that, okay, I see the 266 and the 180 for the beverage there. Okay. Are we doing any banquets at all at the beach club?
Yeah, if you look at the detailed leads tracker that I sent you guys last night, line number 3 says location. You'll see that it'll say YC is obviously yacht club. If you scroll down, you'll see where it says beach club. You'll also see clubhouses on there too. You look down and say June 19th, that's your first beach club. And then June 24th is your first clubhouse. That encompasses all weddings and events at all 3 locations.
Okay, and they're all reported under the yacht club.
They're all what?
All reported under the yacht club?
No, they're reported under their individual units. This $335,000 is for all 3 units combined. Now, the truth of the matter is most of these are yacht club ballrooms. That's where the 85% of these are. So 85% of that money and the big dollar ones are the yacht club ballrooms. You know, the clubhouse has $1,000 here. The beach club has the most expensive wedding we have is $9,500. But if you look at the yacht clubs, there's 25s, there's 24s, there's 19s. Obviously, it's a bigger venue. The higher dollar comes in at the bigger venue.
Understood.
This is Brian. Ralph, I think maybe Dick might have been alluding to the fact that there's no budget posted for banquet sales. Or a very small number there on the 2022 proposed, even though you're anticipating some income there.
We've always included banquet sales in regular sales because it's at the beach club. It's never been that drastic of an influence.
I see. So you just haven't separated out the food banquet from food regular. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph, this is Don again. Could I ask you I'm kind of new to this, so the 2021 forecast, let's just take the beverage section there. We're saying the 2021 forecast is 201 revenue, and we're saying in 2022 it's going to be 180. So unless I'm reading this thing wrong, if you believe that things are going to be good, there's going to be more people in the beach club, which would mean they'll drink more and the beverage should go up, or am I missing something?
I don't have those numbers in front of me.
That's what we ended up doing this year.
That number comes from the 2019 actuals.
Which number is that? The 180, Doug?
Yeah, the 180. If you look at the 2019 actuals,
Right?
that's what they're proposing, because you said those are the numbers you worked with. I'm assuming 2020 was because, clearly it was COVID related, but
I think I heard him say that it happens to be the same, but I think I heard him say that he picked up the 2021 budget and moved that into 2022.
Well, the 2021 forecast shows 201,000, which I'm assuming that's what Steve, that's what you think 2021 will come in at, right? And why would
Yeah, the year to date on there shows that we've already have a revenue in 2021 of 201,000.
Okay, so 2021 is 201. In 2022, it's going to go down to 181.
Look, I just moved the budget over from 2021 to 2022.
Yeah.
I don't really have a specific answer as to why that line's different than the other one. That the budget made sense when I did it for 2021. It makes sense non-COVID for 2022. The fact that we did more beverage sales than food sales.
Your food sales are going up, so you're going to sell more food, but drink less, I guess.
No, I didn't have a specific reason that I can recall for why I did that.
So, Ralph, can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I just asked Ralph if I can jump in. And look, Don and everybody, it's an excellent question. Let's look at it this way, in the sense, and I understand if you hone in on the 201 versus 180, absolutely. You're saying under a COVID, we did 201 and 180. The way I looked at this, and Steve did, was we looked at the total revenue, and he's budgeting to that. Now, whether or not, the numbers could have went in between, obviously his beverage, his food number, if I'm not mixing these up, hold on, is higher. I would look at the total number. I agree with you. The detail maybe needs to be adjusted or reclassed, but we agreed on that. It would be pre-COVID, go with that same budget, and that's what he did with the 455.
Okay, compared
That's
to
the way I looked at it, but again, I'm open to what you say. I get the question. It's an excellent question, but that's the way I see this.
Okay.
Yes. Was there another question on the beach club, or were you changing venues?
Well, no, still in the beach club. So when you have your budget, proposed budget for 2022, which is repeating what would have been a good year in 2021. So and also looking at how we finished last year, what's the overall staffing level at the beach club? We probably haven't. I don't know if we have the head count or not, but is your staffing constant there?
Yeah, staffing has been the biggest hurdle for the restaurant business this year, especially with no J1s. Once they stopped J1s, it was a push-up hiring staff members. And then once that happened, Ocean City, and that's where the beach club is, the beach club's in Ocean City, became unbelievably competitive for labor. Right across the street from us, there was a huge marquee, literally across the street. Sequence puts a marquee that said $15 an hour for dishwashers. Well, we didn't even pay our cooks $15 an hour. So it was a struggle, but we were able to do it to keep ourselves staffed because people like working with us at our companies. We weren't held up at gunpoint for those dollar amounts. We have a lot of repeat staff members. Our retention rate is good, which brings down the cost of training. So our labor dollars and labor hours is actually pretty strong at the beach club. Our management's coming back in full there. Same management as we've had since we opened the place up. And I mean on-site management, obviously. I'm not talking about me or Matt or Lewis. So that helps bring down labor costs as well. I'm pretty confident in our labor costs being exactly where they are.
Ralph, is J1 off again this year, or is that what's gonna happen with that?
They are going to bring J1 back. They're bringing it back in increments, not as heavy as it was, but they are going to bring it back. We've already started the process of getting some J1s for not just the beach club, but for the yacht club and the beach club. We're actually working with a program there to transport the students back and forth so they can work daytime at the beach club and then nighttime at the yacht club, keeping them in the same family, so to speak.
That's good. That's terrific.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, this is Brian. This is probably more of a question for Steve, but under the 2021 forecast for the year end, there's no management fees posted yet. Is that going to get, that comes in the next few months?
We're looking at Beach Club, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we've typically, historically, never posted it there. It's always been within the yacht club.
But we have management fees posted for the other actuals and for the budget.
Some management fees that came out in the past for the beach club were
Accounting one.
accounting management fees and also a bonus that would come out of banquets. But the brunt, and when I say brunt, I mean 90% or 95% of our management fees come out of yacht club.
Okay, so well then the 21K posted for the proposed budget is covering those incidental fees that you're speaking about.
That's right. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, this is George, and maybe I'm too much in the weeds here, but just looking at what are the contract services that are in there under contract and supplies? It has a year-to-date of 3,600 and a forecast of 5,000, yet the beach club is closed. So I'm not sure there. And then I go down to electricity, and we spent 3,900 and we're projecting 6,600. Yet the beach club is closed. I'm not sure of those numbers. And again, maybe I'm too much in the weeds on this. And if I am,
Good question.
Steve, what's in contract services?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look it up to see.
Our dish machine is in contract services.
Could be stuff.
For the yacht club, I know that say the elevator contract is in the contract services. Oh God, what else is in contract services? The hood cleaning guy.
okay. Well, I guess what I'm saying is, we've got a year-to-date figure. What's I'm assuming is the actual, yet we're projecting a forecast higher than that while the beach club is closed. Again, maybe I'm too much in the weeds. If I am, I apologize. Those numbers just hit me, and
the year-to-date number that's in there now won't change.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
No, that's just what they're saying. I think it can change though.
Well, electricity would go up. There's probably some electricity going on, George.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not $3,000 worth, but
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let me,
a little bit.
so Dick,
I didn't know.
Ralph asked me to jump in. So first, if BNF does want, Steve can get some detail after the meeting and forward on with that. It is possible that even though it's closed, that we have some type of services going in there to service something, possibly a contractor going in there. Some stuff is there, like with let's say an HVAC system or whatever. And I'm not saying this is the exact example, that we have a service contract with
The
them or
alarm
something like
company.
the alarm
Well,
company. Well, we'll get you the details. Steve will follow up with that.
There's probably
If the
something
rest of
there.
BNF feels it's necessary, I mean, that's just my thing, and maybe again, I'm too
No, I
much.
understand. It's a good question.
My guess is that you'll find some cost there, because if you just look at the historical actuals, 2018, maybe I'm on phone here. Let me go to electricity. Yeah, 2018, 19, it's still 7,000, 8,000. 20th actual 7,000. So to have actuals of 7,000 is not probably off base with historical purposes, whatever makes it up.
If I may, this Brian, also point out it's a forecast. I think some of those year-to-date numbers are going to turn into the year-end forecast. So it's a best estimate, and maybe those forecasted numbers for contract services or utilities won't come to pass.
Well said, Brian. Okay.
Next line item that there's a question on.
So if there are no more line item questions, I think most of the other costs are fixed costs, other than the revenues, which we looked at before here. It seems like we're looking at a $98,000 bottom line at the Beach Club, in line with the current year forecast, and a little bit below the 2021 budget. And what I'm hearing Ralph say is that this is there's opportunity to go above this.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Ralph, this is Don again. One more question for you. On the weddings, does all the food and everything, if you have the wedding at the Beach Club, does all the food and the beverage and everything come out of the Beach Club, or is it kind of catered that way?
We cater the food from the yacht club. The alcohol sales goes directly into the Beach Club accounts. The food actually gets made and then brought down to the Beach Club. We have these containers that ship down all the food hot. We warm it up in the kitchen, but the food itself comes from the yacht club.
Okay.
We buy our food in bulk, and it's easier to prepare at the yacht club in that great kitchen they have upstairs for a larger event, and then just transfer it down. We wouldn't have the kitchen equipment to do a wedding at the Beach Club. We just don't have it.
Where do you book the revenue?
All right, thanks.
The revenue for the food goes where the food's bought. So the yacht club gets the revenue for the food. The revenue for the alcohol goes where it's bought, and that revenue goes to the Beach Club.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. And labor's the same way. The labor for the booze that's used and served there gets charged to the Beach Club, and the labor to prepare the food that's brought from the yacht club over gets charged to the yacht club. They get the profit, they get the expense. The Beach Club gets a profit, the Beach Club gets the expense.
Good.
Ralph, I guess that's the same for the banquet activities in the clubhouse then, if you're prepping the food at the yacht club?
Yes, that's exactly right. It's exactly the same. Food gets charged and expensed at the yacht club, and booze gets charged and expensed at the clubhouse.
Okay, gotcha. I'll ask this question now, even though we're not on the clubhouse, and I was just curious for a banquet that's generated by the golf course.
Right.
Seems to me that the golf ops maybe should get some kind of credit for bringing that business, the food, business into the clubhouse. And I was just wondering if I don't know, we give the golf ops a sales commission or something if they bring a big banquet into the clubhouse. Is there any consideration been given to that?
Well, there are, in this form that I sent you guys, that does not include banquets that come in from the golf course.
Okay.
That's not on here.
Okay.
This is just weddings and events that's generated from our event manager. And there's a whole bunch of golf events that John's putting together that are not on this list.
But that would go to clubhouse is what he wants to know.
Yeah, the sales for the food and beverage go to the clubhouse. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Goes to the clubhouse budget.
Yep, excellent question. We actually talked about that before we came in here this morning, but yep. So if it's a tournament, right, if it's golf driven, that will stay with the clubhouse. If it's a wedding down there, whatever, that goes to the yacht club.
Right. If John brings in an event where there's 200 golfers and they sit and they eat and drink at the clubhouse, all that revenue goes to the clubhouse.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I was even leaning toward giving the golf ops budget some credit for bringing the business to the clubhouse, but I hear what you're saying, that the clubhouse is getting the revenue for that. Okay. I got you.
We can distinguish though what's from the golf. It'll be on there.
Yeah.
So when you look at the clubhouse though, you'll be able to distinguish it, and obviously we'd be able to look at that, Brian. Unless B&F wants to make a recommendation that we do give it some credit, but right now I'm fine the way it is because the clubhouse is getting it, but we can always do something like that if
Okay, thank you.
we do it as one line item.
Well, I don't know, others can speak up here, but maybe it's something we can talk about some more. Don't necessarily
Okay.
decide today, but if there is a strong feeling that there is a kind of
Get credit.
a commission, if you will, or some kind of credit due to the golf course for doing something, well, we can talk about it. We don't have to decide that right this moment.
Okay, that's fine, but yeah, no, that's a good question, and Steve can definitely do it as a line item, but just to make the point, the Matt Ort Company would get credit for those sales when any other type of calculation is done for them. Okay?
Sure. Okay, thank you.
If you want to move to if that was it, and you want to go to the clubhouse since we're on that,
Sure.
Yeah, let's move to the clubhouse grill since we're on that.
now, here's where I'm going to have difficulty explaining some things. Well, I don't have any history at all with the clubhouse. None. This is our first year, and of course, it was a COVID year, so this was best guess scenario here.
What's your gut feeling though, Ralph, on like how the clubhouse should do?
My gut feeling is that COVID is not going to affect the clubhouse at all. It's outside. Golfers can play without any fear of they're more brave, so to speak. I didn't even do a COVID budget for the clubhouse. I did one only for the yacht club and the beach club. That's how positive I am that I don't think it's going to be affected. Plus, even with 50% capacity, the unit is so big, we would never have enough guys there to fill it anyways. So only being able to fill 50% indoors, of course, outside's 100%. I just don't feel that it's going to be affected negatively. So I think that this is truly worst case scenario on revenue of 230,000. I think that can actually be. Look, my goal is to under promise and over deliver. I don't know how else to word it. I wanted to put this down so that when I came back to you guys next year, I hit all my numbers. This was best guess scenario I could do. I don't have any backup numbers for this unit, and we don't manage any other golf courses, so I couldn't even lean on our other properties. In the past, when we have issues, I can lean on my other properties and say, well, this is how we do it there, and this is how we do it there, and I can kind of figure it out. But here, I'm shooting from the hip.
I've got a question. This is Doug. So if you look on the expense side, under, for example, the items under utilities, you notice the proposed has the exact same numbers as the year-to-date actuals, where when you look and you compare that to the beach club and the yacht club, the proposed budget is a reflection of what was in the 2021 budget and the forecast. So it looks like those numbers got transposed from the wrong column, because it looks like if we have been traditionally, look at some of the history, like for example, electricity, the forecast is $9,700, and we're projecting in the proposed budget, $3,000, when historically it was a little bit higher. I think it's just maybe a technical error or clerical error on that one. Because I was looking at that and it's like those numbers kind of don't add up.
This is George. Is that like a prorate just to the grill versus the rest of the electricity in the building?
No, doesn't look like it, because if you look at the historical numbers.
Before in the old building, I don't know where all the electricity was charged, for the whole building. Is this just the portion for the grill and then the rest of the utilities go under the golf? I don't know. But I see what you're looking at, Doug.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is the just use round numbers, the other $6,000 for electrical expenses somewhere else?
It's something the other building. That's what he's asking.
This is split up and not from the same building?
It's
This
like
is
a,
just
it's
us?
like a 60-40 split or whatever the square footage between the ops and the clubhouse. Yeah.
Okay, so on the actuals, it was already split 60/40?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So Doug, I mean,
So you
I think what you're saying is we got a forecast of 18,000 in there. We got $6,000 proposed. That 6,000 numbers. You're correct. That's not a good number. That probably needs to be bumped up. And then I don't know if that's a bottom line effect to us or if we have some other areas that need to be adjusted.
Was the
as well.
same
Yeah, I
mistake revenue?
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to be shortchanged on the expense side, where we actually incur more expenses than we had planned on. And actually, George, I hadn't thought about that, but George brought up a good question about, do you split it up from an operational perspective? You say, hey, I take a certain percentage of this and charge it against the food and beverage budget and another percentage of the electrical or utility usage to the golf ops budget. Is that how it's done, or?
Yeah, right now we base it on square footage, so we get the bills and,
Okay.
we try to directly correlate as much of the expenses as we can to each operation. So we do allocate it accordingly.
Steve, you
So it
asked
looks like those numbers need to be adjusted a little bit then on the clubhouse grill side.
is that the accounting? Sounds so, but you don't have that in there either. See what I'm saying?
Excuse me, John, a logistical question for you. Is there only a single electrical meter on the clubhouse?
I'm sorry, you're asking me?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I believe there is. I mean, Steve told me that he does an allocation, and we've talked about this when we first opened it.
right, okay. So I was just thinking if there was separate meter,
Yeah,
way to
no.
divvy it up.
He does do an allocation. He can tell you how he does it.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Times 12, yeah.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, you're still gonna say you're making 23,000 then.
Yeah, I mean, the management fee.
Ralph, you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Is the same mistake made with the revenue line?
Yeah.
Is it? Year to date?
Well, our proposed numbers,
this is what they were saying.
nah, the proposed numbers up versus September.
It is?
Yeah. It's
How
more,
much?
it's more in line with the forecast. So we got a $230,000 budget versus September 190,000. So we're saying another 40,000.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, if we just look at the big picture, we're pretty comfortable that we're gonna make 25,000 there without the ornaments or no?
Yes,
Okay.
no doubt.
So let me just jump in, and I just spoke to Ralph, and it's okay, we just talked about it. We're gonna go back and look at this. This will be adjusted when we do all the changes. The bottom line, looking at big picture what a forecast is, and Ralph will confirm this, he and his team are comfortable that they'll be at around 25,000 of operating
A
profit.
10% net profit on total revenue.
There you go. So some numbers, you're right, Doug, or whoever else said it, we'll go back and adjust them. But there's the formula that Ralph is, what we've been talking about, without the tournaments that Brian talked about.
Yeah,
Don, again, I wanted to ask a question. What is the schedule at the grill? Is it closed at 6 o'clock at night, or are you planning on doing something different in the summertime, say?
The summertime hours are later because the sun sets 3 hours later.
Right.
It closes earlier in the wintertime because the sun goes down by 4:30, 5 o'clock, and obviously no one's playing golf by then. We're open till 6 in the summer, and the latest we'd be open is 5 o'clock in the winter. 7 days a week in the summer, and well, right now we're closed, but we were down to 4 days a week in the off season.
So the summertime is 6 o'clock?
Yes, it is.
Is there anything thought of going to maybe 7 or 8 o'clock? And
There's absolutely no business when we close at 6 o'clock.
really?
No one come, at that point in time of the day is when people decide they're gonna drive the extra 1/10 of a mile and go to the yacht club.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they do. They go to the yacht club. That's where the better options are for food and drink. That's where the bigger crowds are. That's where the entertainment is at that time of the day. The bands start at 6 o'clock. No one's gonna stay at the, I mean, why do I want to say no one?
Right.
Not enough people would stay at the clubhouse that late to warrant it, keeping the labor there that late.
Okay. All right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
That's what
Ralph,
you want to do anyways. You want to push the business to what unit is open at that time of day. That's why the yacht club won't do breakfast, because we don't want to compete with the clubhouse.
all right, I got a couple of items here. One is, I think, Steve, we probably should tie out some of the proposed budget numbers so they make sense and they're reasonable. I understand you want to end up with like a 10% kind of bottom line, but the other numbers should kind of tie out with some reason. So some adjustments there are probably prudent. Because I don't know just how reliable some of that forecast information is there, but taking a second look at that and making sure the budget makes sense is probably a good thing to do. Second thing, you were talking about closing hours at the grill and so forth. One of the things that was talked about last year, and obviously COVID put the kibosh on this, was that you were talking about offering up some kind of Sunday kind of brunch situation, where you thought there was a good business opportunity there, and maybe we were doing some of that. I'm just not aware of it. Is there still an opportunity there, Ralph?
We definitely think there's an opportunity for Sunday at the clubhouse, and it was definitely COVID that put the kibosh on that. Look, Sundays are our strongest days there, between football and the people that want to play golf on Sundays, and it's just more of a leisure day. It's a great opportunity, Sunday brunch, and it's something we definitely want to do. But until this issue goes away, we can't start it. It wouldn't be feasible.
I understand.
Yeah, just to point out, this is Brian. You are serving breakfast there, though. I see a lot of comments about how good your breakfasts are. It's just not the Sunday brunch that you're doing.
Yes, that's correct. Our breakfasts are great. We have a couple of good short order cooks who make a good, fast, hot, abundant breakfast at a really good price. And again, the only reason we don't have enough people in there is because of this COVID issue, but that's not the kind of the buffet we're talking about. The brunch would be more of a traditional buffet style kind of thing.
Sure.
But that would only be one day a week.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that to Dick that you are serving breakfast. It's just not the brunch on Sundays.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to having brunch and lunch there someday when the COVID passes.
Good.
Okay. Anything else? I'm looking at the time. I mean, obviously.
So I guess, So I guess what I'm hearing is we're going to probably end up with something about 10%. And we're going to assign some numbers so they're reasonable.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
We're off to the yacht club, I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, yacht club. Again, I used the 2021 budget numbers. Can I see that sheet? Oh. I just transferred over our 2021 budget numbers to 2022, assuming there would be no COVID. These are numbers that were attained through 2020. Our first year in was 19. I think our sales are going to go up above the 2.6, but I wanted to underpromise and overdeliver. I also believe that COVID's not going to affect our bottom line, so I feel pretty confident in that net number. Most of these numbers are actuals from the previous year. Our percentages are in line, albeit a little bit high. 35% payroll, for example. I budgeted it so that I would underpromise and overdeliver. I truthfully think it's going to come in somewhere around 31. Our food costs and liquor costs are within industry standards. Our contractor and supplies are all percentages of sales that reflect past actual numbers. Our entire $200,000 management fee is removed from the yacht club, which is what brings the percentage of the net down. Insurance, permits, promotions, those are all, insurance and permits, those are all actual numbers.
Ralph, this is Don again. I'm sorry to get you off center here, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, but let's go up to regular payroll. The 2021 forecast is 550,000, which I don't know if I'm right with this, Steve, but does that mean that's what we think the payroll expense would be for 2021?
Yeah.
And if that's the,
Keep in mind that we got the PPP in 21, so it's probably lower.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking at the numbers.
So
so
Steve, spot on.
the payroll is not going up $250,000. It's just the way that PPP comes into play.
Yeah, because we took it as a credit against payroll in the yacht club, yes.
Right.
Okay.
PPP came in this year at 271, and that was credited against payroll. So in actuality, you would add 271 to that number.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
So, and just in perspective, remember, and we'll talk about it tomorrow too, the PPP this year, we put it into general admin for everybody else, right? So it's a little different. I'm big on consistency, but we all agreed from the beginning that they would allocate it here. But every other amenity, when you're looking at the forecast, it'll be in the general admin and not against the amenities, okay? But right, the 275 or 271, as he said, is in here.
Okay.
Ralph, I don't know if it's too early in the game yet, but do you see any opportunity for, as you understand it, PPP, new PPP going forward here?
I don't, because the first round of PPP was based upon your payroll from the previous year, and you were able to get a percentage of that. This second round is going to be based on actual damages, which we're not able to show because of the fact that we got 271 in PPP. We can't show damages. We won't show a loss, which if you think about it, is what it was intended to do. It was intended to do two things. A, keep your employees employed and off of unemployment, hence the name payroll protection. And B, make sure that small businesses didn't go out of business because they couldn't pay their bills. It accomplished both those goals. Therefore, we probably will not qualify for a loss in the first 2 quarters of this year because we received PPP money. So I do not, to answer your question, the short answer is no. I don't see us getting any more payroll protection money.
Yeah, I suspect you're probably right. One of the things that I read was that you had to show a 25% reduction as a hurt, 25% reduction in revenues, and it looks like we wouldn't see that if we compared compared this year to what we're proposing in 22. Yeah.
Right now, the revenue, and I think that has something to do with profits as well. Our revenue was we did a good job keeping our revenue up because of the specials we did. You know, we did a lot of discounting and a lot of specials, which helped the revenue come up. Now, it hurt us on costs, but that's the price of doing business as an amenity as opposed to a business. We had some things we had to do for Ocean Pines. We had to offer family meals at a discounted price. We had to offer free delivery. We had to keep these 8,452 homes when they were told they couldn't leave their house fed. And that's where the amenity part of this business came in, which affected our costs this year. I think COVID's going to affect us more on the tail end of this year than at all next year. I don't see it's going to affect us at all next year, whereas I think the tail end of this year is going to get hurt substantially. But that's off the budget part. So.
Just as an FYI, as I'm looking at it here now, it looks like you have bookings of 325. Maybe some of those bookings are in this year's budget. But 325, and in our 2022 proposed budget, we have bookings, or we have banquet activity of 405. So we're almost there. So beating that probably is a
Yes,
very
and
realistic
look,
opportunity.
this sheet that I sent you guys is very fluid. It literally changes every week, and it doesn't change for the worse. It only changes for the better. As soon as Valentine's weekend, President's weekend comes, my banquet manager's running around doing look-sees and tastings literally on a weekly basis with groups that are coming in. So it is fluid and it does change, but it only changes for the positive.
Hey, Steve, my budget book doesn't have a bottom line. It's kind of cut off where it was copied. What's the bottom line on the yacht club?
I noticed that this morning when I was taking a
Yeah.
page, unfortunately.
Same with mine too.
Yeah.
It obviously went in the copier and I put the margins too low, so I apologize for that, but the next copy, I'll make sure it gets on there.
I calculated it out for the proposed 2022. The bottom line is a 88K profit.
So you roll them all together, we're in the $200,000 range when you put all the places together.
If you roll them all together, I didn't hear what he said.
I think if you roll them all together, we're close to 200K. I would think.
Yeah, it's between 150 and 200, somewhere like 170-ish or something.
Yes.
90 and 20 is 100.
It's around, yeah, right.
So it's 90. It's
23 and
Yeah,
200.
88.
It's about 200,000.
It's 200,000.
Okay.
The trigger's 160.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Thanks.
We don't need to get into that. It's beyond the scope of this meeting.
Well, going in, my opinion, going in a post-COVID situation at a $200,000 for all of them is a good thing, particularly with the upside that potentially could happen. I may be a little bit more pessimistic than Ralph on the rebound from COVID here, but I think it's certainly beatable here. Yeah.
I think once it's done, they're going to come unbelievable.
I do too.
For everything.
My gut tells me it's going to be the gates of hell are opening up, and those customers are coming down fast and furious.
Yeah, I think it's just like after 9/11. I'm with Ralph on this. I think once it's all done, assuming everybody got it, plus the vaccine, I think it's just everything's going to open up. The dam will just open. But hey, we'll find out. Anything else?
Good job, Ralph. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And any more questions on the yacht club?
None here.
No, not me.
Any more
Nothing.
questions? Any more higher level questions just overall on food and beverage?
Nope.
All right. Sounds like it's 11:59. We set it for an hour. It looks like we're there.
Excellent.
So just as a note for tomorrow, those of us that are going to be at the Assateague room, we're going to be there at 8:15 in the morning. IT will be there to help us, make sure we get online and set up and work out all the kinks. So at 9 o'clock, when the meeting actually starts, we can basically be hitting ground running. I think it'll work just fine. Be a little bit more sensitive over there as far as turning down mics and lowering speakers, so we're not have a lot of reverb going on and things like that. But I think it's all very workable. It'll work just fine, I think.
Hey, Dick, how many tables are we planning on setting up there?
I think Debbie was going to set up enough for 10 people. Right now we don't have 10 people, so if there was a board member, if you want to come over, Doug, and
Yeah,
sit there,
I plan on.
too.
Yeah, I plan on being there, so just
Okay.
want to make sure.
Okay. And I think John and his team is going to be in the boardroom, and John will be in his office maybe, and that'll work just fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I think this actually was a good test. Obviously, it's working out well. We stayed in the conference room. I got the big screen up. We'll probably do this, maybe we'll distance as much as we can here. If there is a need, we'll come over to the Assateague, but I don't see it.
And as I understand it, for tomorrow, or actually going forward for the budget, we don't anticipate that there'll be a lot of handouts. If there are any handouts, John will see that they're delivered over to the Assateague room or distributed to people remotely. So therefore, we'll be using the budget books. So there really will not be a need to present anything on a PowerPoint overhead at this point in time. So we should be okay. Should be okay there. And I guess, John, is Michelle taking care of some food for tomorrow?
Yes, in fact, I went through the menu with her today. There's breakfast, lunch each day. I did put in some of the feedback I received from some of your team. I know she incorporated it into, but yes.
Okay.
There'll be coffee in the morning, there'll be breakfast. They'll make the coffee there, and then there'll be lunch will come in. Yep.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you guys have done a lot of work all year long. Okay,
All right.
Nick, talk to me. Good?
I'm all set. Anybody else?
All set. Thank you very much,
Okay.
gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Meeting adjourned at 12:01. Thank you.
Thanks,
perfect,
everyone.
perfect.
Yeah.
Ralph, well done.
Thank
Lewis,
you.
well done.